In this tutorial, we are going to make an assembly in Inventor. So basically an assembly is what you're looking at here. It's a few parts that are put together in a certain way. These are separate part files. You can see over here I've got the different files saved separately as different names, and we have them in one assembly. So we are going to use this anytime we have separate parts that make up maybe a toy or a tool, but it's useful for putting different parts together. So you already kind of know how to make individual basic parts, but we are going to demonstrate just making one of them. If we look over at our drawing here, we have different dimensions for the particular parts we make in this video. So you're going to make those individually. We're going to just make this one here together just as a refresher. So I'm going to start with a new part, and this time I'm going to choose the standard. Okay, hit create, and I'm going to do this quickly since you already kind of know how to do this. So start 2D sketch. I'm going to choose the XZ plane, and I'm going to try to keep that consistent so that everything's oriented the same way. So rectangle tool, and I'm going to type in 1, tab 1, and then hit enter. Zoom all, and now I've got a 1x1 square. Finish sketch, extrude 1 inch. Okay, zoom all. Now I want to add a block on top. So start 2D sketch. I'm going to click the top plane. I'm going to put a rectangle. I'm going to put 0.5 this time. Tab 0.5, enter. And I want to get it centered. So I'm going to use the dimension tool. I'm going to go here to here, and basic math will tell me that I've got a 0.25 border all the way around that square. Here, and click 0.25. Okay, finish sketch. All right, so let's extrude that. This time we're going to go up 0.5. Okay. And last, we need to put a circle there. So start 2D sketch. I'm going to choose this plane and make my circle. I'm going to scroll down until it turns green dot. That way I know I'm in the center, and slide directly over about in the middle, and 0.5 this time for the diameter. And then I need to make one dimension from here to here, down here, and just make it perfect. 0.5. Now I know it's perfectly centered. Finish sketch, extrude, and you may need to pause to catch up with these things, but this is basic. This time I'm going to go in the other direction for the extrusion and go to through all. Click OK, and now I have my basic part. I'm going to go ahead and color, go to adjust here in the middle. If I hover over the edge here, I get everything selected, or the solid. And now I can choose the color that I want. That looks good. Hit the check mark, and we now have our basic part. So go ahead and make all 3 parts using this drawing. I'm going to zoom into each part individually so you can pause the video, look at the dimensions, and make your part on your own. Be sure to save each one an individual file, preferably in your Google Drive. So go ahead and pause for the first one. Pause and make the second one. Pause and make the third one. Okay, so now hopefully you've made all 3 parts, and they look kind of basically like this with individual names. You can give names by the color or the shape, whatever you want. Okay, so now we're going to make our assembly. There's a couple ways of opening an assembly. We can either go to File, New, Assembly, or you can click on the button up here, the New. Make sure you choose the standard assembly if you do that way. Create. Now we need to place our actual parts on this page. So let's place each part individually. You may need to navigate to the folder where you saved your parts. Mine popped right up. So I'm going to choose the peg square first. Click open. Now when I click once on my screen, it places the part in isometric view, but it wants to place another one. So I don't want to click again. Instead, I'm going to hit the escape button on my keyboard. And now I have the part individually placed. So let's put the next one. So place, I'm going to choose the peg round now, but notice I intentionally made it upside down to show you you can rotate it. So if I click open, instead of hitting the left mouse button again to place it in the wrong position, I'm going to right click on it and rotate it on the X axis. And I'm not quite in the direction I want, so I'm going to right click again, X axis, right click, X axis. And now I'm in the position I want. So now I can left click and hit escape. Okay, if for some reason you forget to do that and it's oriented the wrong way, you can always right click on the object and choose free rotate, and you can rotate in any direction you want. Okay, so that option is there. Okay, so let's place our last piece. And this is the block top, open and click, and then escape. All right, so now all three of my pieces are in position. I'm ready to do my actual assembly. We do that by using the constrain tool. Okay, usually when you constrain things, there's different options of how to do the exact same thing. I'm going to show you a couple for the top piece, and then the bottom piece will just kind of leave in one direction. So first we have a mate tool, and then we have a flush tool. Mate tool is when you mate two sides or two vertices together, and a flush tool is when they're kind of even with each other. All right, a lot of times we start with the mate tool. So I'm going to start by choosing this vertices down here and this one here, and I'm going to hit apply. You need to remember to hit apply for every move. Otherwise, you're going to end up having to cancel out and undo. So hit apply, and notice how it's placed it in position with these two vertices touching each other. It's still movable though. You can see that. So I need to fix it so that it doesn't move like that. So I'm going to click this vertices here and hit apply. And then I'm going to choose this one and hit apply. So now when I close out, I shouldn't be able to move it. Everything moves together. So another way of doing it, let me undo here, is I can go back to the constraint. This time I'm going to choose the inside. And you don't have to do this. It's just to show you there's different ways of doing it. And I'm going to choose this side. Okay, go back here and hit apply. And I'm going to choose the flush tool. Flush this with this. Hit apply. And then I'm back to the mate tool. I'm going to do this with this and hit apply. So it's accomplished the same thing. It's just in a different way. Now, when I go back to do the peg, if I hit the constraint tool, you'll see that it has a center point. That's really useful, putting this in the correct position. So if I click here and here, now I have that in the right hole, but I can still move it. That's what I want to fix. Okay, so I want to get it so it won't slide in and out. So go back to constraints, and this time I'm going to hit the mate tool here, and I'm going to rotate and hit the mate tool here. And notice when I hit apply, it pops it into position. And now if I cancel out of my constraints, I can no longer move it. Everything is constrained fully together. So that's the assembly tool. It's very useful. It makes nice presentations of different parts you make that go together. It's pretty easy to use. You just need to get used to orienting things in the correct direction and using the constraint button. Don't forget, you can use your view tool anytime you want to turn your object as you constrain it. Make sure you're in the right place. Sometimes you have to zoom in and out to do that. But use the tool, play with it, try it with different parts that you create, simple or complex, but have fun with it. It's kind of a cool thing.